used the B-roll of her from his film.
It was our big break. Adam and I had partnered up to do our first film. Our subject was on documentary techniques, and it focused on independent filmmaker Louis Massiah. Louis had worked on the PBS series Eyes on the Prize, and is also the founder-director of Scribe Video Center in Philadelphia. We sat down with Louis to talk about the interview process, and we decided to share the lessons learned.
Usually, my interaction with an interview subject begins with just a telephone conversation, sort of introducing myself and sort of talking a little bit about the project.
Hey, what's up, Adam?
Hey, Paul, what's going on, man?
Hey, dude. Hey, we've got an interview scheduled at 8:30 a.m. this Thursday. Is that cool with you?
Yeah. So wait, is Thursday the pre-interview or the actual interview?
No, this is the actual interview. I wasn't able to get a pre-interview at all.
Oh.
We weren't able to schedule anything, so...
Yeah. Sure, I guess that's fine. I mean, not a whole lot you can really do about that.
Yeah, hopefully it'll work out.
So then the pre-interview...
so you actually have an initial conversation. So you don't
yeah.
have an official pre-interview.
Right, so I'm annoyed by this procedure in that I would think that there should have been a pre-interview ahead of time. So, because to me, this is a waste of tape. There should have been a pre-interview ahead of time so that you know what you want.
Okay, so for this segment on Scribe, what questions do we want to start asking with Louis? Do you have anything in mind, or?
I mean, start off simple, just ask when it got started and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we should probably know that ahead of time.
Well, I mean, yeah, we know what it is, but I mean, if we're pulling out trying to edit a small chapter on this, we gotta, number one, involve our audience so that they know that.
So kind of ask a generic, broad, stupid question to get them started and get the audience kind of in the basic information, then point them in the right direction.
That, and also because you ask him a basic question, and then that way he can build into whatever's more specific, and then we can cut it out later if it doesn't fit.
Okay.
So then in the actual interview process, I really try to try to make it as economical as possible to use and sort of focus on those things that, those good stories that will sort of help me with the piece. So it's not a fishing expedition. It's a directed exercise where I'm trying to get something that I'm pretty sure of how it's going to work in a film.
Are there particular kinds of questions that you find that...
I wanted to know, what are the right kinds of questions to ask in an interview? There was more to the answer than I expected.
I mean, you want to ask questions that will produce stories, that can allow you want information oftentimes, but you want questions that allow emotional stories, something that the viewer, when watching the tape, can connect with. My only little bit of directorial advice right now is I think you're too far away from the camera. You should be have your head right there by the camera, because I'm going to be looking over here and the camera's over there. So in future, I think you need to be closer to the camera.
Okay.
All right.
No, I appreciate you letting me know. Am I good?
And I think the way you do that is you actually need to be further back.
Behind the camera.
You need to be you need to have your head right here. So that means if
here.
Yeah. That's a much.
So you'll
I'm almost touching the camera, and the camera person is saying, "Oh, I can't." You're shaking the camera.
Yeah.
I am right there, and it's a much more intimate contact. As it is now, there's 25 degrees between interviewer and camera. Anyway.
You're getting all this right. That's actually what I
Yeah.
Louis had some interesting ideas about being a cultural worker. As we edited this segment, we tried our best to represent him accurately.
Yeah, I think when using the term cultural worker is much broader than than just looking at a film. It's an approach to how one goes about doing one's work. It's a description of a variety of.
Okay,
of
stop.
endeavors, not just.
That music's not gonna work.
The worst editor ever.
We're gonna have to try something else.
Okay. Let's look for something else then.
Yeah. What else do you have?
I still think something like jazzy would be better, but I mean, we gotta find someone to do that first. So.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And maybe just like lay down like a little piano bed underneath it, and because like most of this stuff is just it's slight techno-ish. So.
Yeah. Well, let's try that one. Track 14.
It's a description of.
No, that's putting me to sleep. No. That's too fast.
Okay, we can try something. We can do something else with maybe this lighter song here.
Okay.
How one goes about doing one's art.
Okay, that's great. That's perfect.
A variety of endeavors. Toni Cade Bambara described herself as a cultural worker, someone using culture as a way to help bring the society and the community forward. So seeing culture as being part of community building. Certainly the work I do as a filmmaker, I see as being part of that kind of cultural work, using film, video, digital media, time-based media as a way to, as a tool for cultural development.
I was trying to figure out how to use some of the footage from Louis' films without having to pay the major costs of licensing. I had heard that you could do this under something called fair use, but I didn't know much about it, so I decided to pay a visit to one of the authors of the Statement of Best Practices for Fair Use, Pat Ofterheide. Okay, Pat, with this interview with Louis right here, he's talking about the idea of the filmmaker's voice, the artist's voice, and I'm trying to use this clip from one of the films he did on Eyes at the Prize and see if that works under fair use so that I don't have to license the footage.
Got it.
So
okay,
let me know if, since you're the expert, let me know if that works or not. Hopefully it does. Okay.
As soon as you like something that you do, I think you realize that, hey, I really enjoyed, and it's usually in the post-production stage. It's usually when you edit something and it really feels coherent and says something that you are trying to say. When you feel that you've successfully communicated an idea, I think that's when a filmmaker has a sense of their own power.
This country knows what power is, knows it very well, and it knows what black power is because it's deprived black people of it for 400 years. We are on the move for our liberation.
Okay, so that's the clip. I'm trying to use it for the category 4, the historical sequence
right.
that this document talks about.
Right.
I don't know if that works.
I have some doubts about the way you've got it. This particular clip, I think you're in a perfect position to use fair use for the purpose of showing a clip from Eyes on the Prize. Mm-hmm. It changed history. It demonstrates the power of filmmakers. All that's true. I think the problem here is that you haven't really told people that he made Eyes on the Prize. You haven't told them that it's a powerful film, so they don't know why they're watching it, and it's not clear what that historical archive clip has to do with what he said. So that people might very well say at Blackside, well, that's not a recontextualized use of the film, so I think you should pay for it. I think you're in a good position when the clip is very clearly linked to the intention of your film. So you can say, I chose this precisely in order to explain that. And when you make that link, you're home free. And I even think you could do it with this clip if you set it up right.
So if I did like a narrator or did some titles that explained, connected it with Louis, gave it some context, then I could actually make this sequence work.
You could, although I'd pick a clip that showed the editing of archival footage, so it's clear what part Louis Massiah and other filmmakers played in this archival compilation. But yeah, you could do it.
Okay, that makes sense.
But another way to see what you're trying to do is to see it as well, you're showing these historical clips as an example of the culture of the time.
I see.
And that's also a legitimate interpretation of fair use. Yeah. So do employ this, and I'm really, really grateful for the chance to be able to talk to you about it.
No, great. I want to save some money, so thanks
exactly.
For the help.
Lower your clearance
yeah,
costs.
Absolutely. After all the hard work, we were finally finished. It was time to enjoy the fruit of our labor.
Scribe is now Scribe began in 1982, so we're about, we'll be 24 years in December. And Scribe, of course, started out very, very small, and the idea changes. An institution, all institutions, I think, change over time. I think an institution needs to be of the world, and as the world changes, and as communities change, and as community needs change, particularly if you think of what the organization is doing as cultural work, the organization needs to be responsive to those kind of changes.
Scribe, I think, is the only media house in this area that I know of that is doing the kind of work with the community, that emphasizes the community. There may be other groups, but I don't think they do it on the level at which Scribe has been doing it, encompassing nonprofits, youth, across a broad range, a broad area of the Philadelphia region.
I think film is a really awesome way to communicate ideas and get ideas across, so I definitely think it's important for our generation to get our opinions and ideas out there, and I think film is a very easy way to do that.
Hey, I thought you were supposed to take that shot out.
Wait, which one?
The cut to the B-roll of the screening.
No, I thought there was the shot beforehand.
I called you last week to take that shot out. What do you
It was the shot beforehand.
No,
I'm
it was
telling
that
you,
shot.
No,
We
remember
talked
it was
about
the
this on
shot,
the
it was the
phone.
screening.
No,
It was
oh my God.